Hi guys, my name is Daryl and today I'm going to show you another great piece of bodybuilding history. This is the actual spider bench that was in Vince's gym, and this goes all the way back to the 1950s. Now this particular bench that I have, so Vince had pieces of equipment that he actually built himself or had built for him, in addition to having other pieces that were made from Ed Jubenville and other manufacturers, but Vince also made his own stuff. And I believe that this bench was actually designed by Vince, and he was the one that came up with the idea of the spider bench curl. This particular bench is unique. I've never seen another one like it. And even in today's gyms, you don't really see spider benches. You know, you see the spider bench exercise, like guys are doing the same type of motion off of like a reverse preacher curl. Same idea, but you don't see a lot of specific benches just for the spider curl. So back in the 1950s and 60s, a lot of guys used this bench. One of the most famous guys was Larry Scott. Larry Scott loved doing the preacher bench in addition to doing the spider bench curl to get his big giant peak on his bicep. So that's what the spider bench does. It helps develop that nice peak. So especially if you're going to get in competition, it really helps kind of define and really brings the bicep out, and that nice high, it brings that nice high peak to the bicep. And so this is a great tool to have, especially if you're competing, but it's also a great exercise just to do for developing the biceps. Larry Scott loved it so much and it became such a staple of his exercise that he ended up asking Vince for permission to actually remanufacture these benches. So he took the design from Vince and the angles, and Vince gave him permission to do all this. And then when Larry opened up his own business years later, he actually sold these benches. Unfortunately, they don't make the benches anymore. Larry passed away in 2014 and no longer makes equipment. It's too bad because his spider bench was really as close to Vince's as you could get. But it's a great tool to have, especially if you can find one. I would always, I know you can still find some of these online. So if you look around hard enough, you might be able to find a used Larry Scott spider bench. But this one that I have, you'll never be able to find this one because this is a custom-made Vince Gironda spider bench. Here's, guys, the spider bench from Vince's gym. And so here it is, guys. Here's the actual spider bench from Vince's gym. It's just really cool because I've never seen one of these anywhere else except for Vince's. And the plate down the bottom was custom made out of steel. So it really keeps the bench in place so it's not going to tip over. So the bench itself, it's just wood and leather. So there's no cushion on this, so it's pretty hard. But you don't need to be super comfortable. I mean, it doesn't need to be really soft because you'd be lying down on it. So it's not like lying on your back. So it's still really comfortable. And then the arm pads here. And this is cool because if you come back here, you can see the adjustment knob. So this slides up and down, allowing different positions for different users. So if you have really long humeruses, you can adjust it to make it more comfortable for you. So this just slides up and down. And same thing, these pads, these little blocks have just maybe a little bit of padding in there, more than the bench itself, just so you can rest your arms on there, and so that doesn't hurt the arms too much. But still not a ton of padding, but still gets the job done. So these really help adjust to the user. So you can slide these out, you can slide these up and down, and you can also move the arm back and forth so you can get different angles for the biceps. It's just a really adjustable and accommodating bench where it's not just pre-fixed. So it just adjusts to everyone's level. So it's a really cool design. And I believe this is the only one in the world because it's something that Vince had made. And so he sort of invented the spider bench. So now let me show you how this thing works. So what you do is just lie down on this bench. It's really quite comfortable. Even though there's no padding, it's still just as comfortable. And then you want the pad to be just about an inch or so away from the elbow itself, so that you can
get the hinge motion here without having to grind the elbow. Like sometimes when you're on a preacher bench curl, you end up grinding your elbows because you're digging them into the pads. But this allows you not to do that, and it's just really comfortable. But it also puts you in that position to really isolate the bicep, and you can't use the deltoids at all. It's impossible. So it turns off all the other muscles except for just the bicep. And today I'm going to share with you this is a bonus, but I'm going to be using the Aristocrat dumbbells. Now these are from York, and these are from the 1950s, and these are so cool. They're rare, but you can still get them. I had to get them because they're very cool, and they're part of the first adjustable dumbbells that were made. These just twist off, so these little screws at the end, they'll unscrew, and you can take the weights off. So I know now they have those dumbbells where you can slide them. They have like screws, and you can slide them on and off, and you can adjust the weights. But I believe this was probably the first idea of that back in the 1950s. And they're so cool because they're small and compact, but man, they just feel incredible because the dumbbell handle itself, they're contoured. So these were casted, and so that means that there's two pieces to them. And when they put them together, it leaves like a little bit of a groove where the seams are. So there's two seams, so it's not a continuous circle. So there's two seams, but there's just something about these dumbbells that when they're in your hand, they just fit perfectly. And I know it seems crazy, but unless you try them, it's just hard to explain how these feel. It's just a dumbbell, and so these handles really allow you to get a good grip of the dumbbell. They just feel so good in your hands. So I figure if I'm going to use a bench from the 1950s, I might as well use the dumbbells from the 1950s. So these are really cool. So anyway, so what you do is you grab the dumbbells, and then keep your feet up off the ground, and then you just curl them right up, and then come back down. Now you can use dumbbells or a barbell. So Larry Scott would use the bent bar a lot, but then he would also use dumbbells as well. So there's another way that Vince would do these. You're going to start sort of in a pronated position, and then as you curl up, you're going to supinate your hands and come back down. You can also keep them supinated. Then you can go a little bit of pronation here. You can even do one at a time. As one goes down, one goes up. And use some burns at the end. And so you can also do this, a lot of the guys would do it with one arm. And they'd get like this, and they'd curl up like this. So you can also do one arm. You see guys, to really isolate just the one arm at a time. So you would do the one arm when you're using a heavier weight to really get into it, because you want to get your kind of sort of your body into it, and you can really lay on it. It's a little bit harder when you're doing both with your feet up. So that's just another option that you can choose when you're doing these. But it's just a great exercise to really blast the bicep. So it's one of those exercises you do probably toward the end of your bicep routine to really get the burn, because on this one, it's not like you really can't cheat. So you got no place else to go. You got no, you really can't use your body like like when you're doing a stand-up biceps curl with the bar, you can lean back and really use your body to get the weight up. This one is just so isolating that you can't really use a ton of weight. And so it's just a great finisher. It's a great exercise to really draw that peak out on the bicep. So the great thing about this is that, it's from the 1950s, and I'm using the dumbbells from the 1950s. It's just pretty neat to think that, this is what those guys used back then. So when I use this bench, I try to use the same dumbbells from that time period. It just makes it, for me, a better experience. It just makes it fun to do. So there you have it, guys. This is the original spider bench from Vince's Gym. So there you have it, guys. That is the original spider bench from Vince's Gym. And guys, if you have any questions or like to see more of my products, you can check me out on my website at www.darylconner.com. You can also email me. You can find my email on my website. And guys, I want to thank you very much for watching. Take care. See you next time.